Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey, Levin here.
Jason.
Derek here.
Well, so I'm not sure what to make of last night. Well, clearly, the Democrats did way better than anybody anticipated.
The red wave didn't crash. I think that we can say.
Well, and also, what really is interesting, and I've been thinking about this, how to kind of process it. It seemed that inflation would be the driving force. It wasn't. It wasn't.
What do you think if you had to label a single driving force for everybody, for people's votes yesterday?
I think Mitch McConnell was right. The quality of the Republican candidates was so lacking that it gave the Democrats a huge opening. And in a way, there were self-inflicted wounds because of the quality issue. But that what they said and what they did and how people received it and how the Democrats took advantage of it just seems to me really, really turned the tide in a really shocking way, because I was around in 1976 when, in 1980, when Jimmy Carter went against Ronald Reagan and the economy was such a huge issue. There was really no way out for Carter. And it happened here, the reverse.
Go ahead.
There's one issue that drives all of this. Drives the bad candidates for the Republicans. It drives the failure for Republicans to seize on the bad economy. Well,
does it start with a D?
It starts with a DT.
Yeah.
It's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The vote yesterday, the outcome yesterday is 100% Donald Trump. It is the reason the Republicans had some lackluster candidates, the reason they have Herschel Walker in the most winnable race anybody else destroys Raphael Warnock. The reason they have Carrie Lake in Arizona.
Well, she at the time we do this, she could win.
She could. These are very winnable races that the Republicans should be winning in states where the incumbent Democrats or the incumbent party being
Herschel
the Democrats
Walker's going to a runoff. I mean, that's going to go to a runoff.
Right, but
he may still win.
But if you look at the other side, Brian Kemp.
No, but I think what Jason is saying is that if this were another candidate, there wouldn't be a runoff.
We see it in Brian Kemp, the governor, who had his battles with Trump.
Exactly.
Is beating a much better candidate than Raphael Warnock and Stacey Abrams by 6 points.
This is a huge reckoning for the Republican Party, which put all their eggs in the Trump basket, right?
Yes.
They left an opening, because you're right, this would have been all about inflation. People are hurting at grocery stores. That should have been front and center. And instead, Republicans put up a slate of candidates who allowed Democrats to say, hey, democracy's on the line. And that drove...
And by the way, democracy was on the line. Democracy was saved last night, not because Republicans may win both houses of Congress, but democracy is not going to be tossed out given these margins.
But I think that's
you're less optimistic than I am.
I am so less optimistic than you, because I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about in 2 years.
But that's what people are trying
to
stop.
So that's the question.
So
that's the question. Does Donald Trump, because everybody was saying two things. The Democrats are going to lose badly. That didn't happen. But they were also saying Donald Trump was a shoo-in to get the Republican nomination. Is that still true?
Still true. The best night by far, and I'm not breaking new ground, Ron DeSantis had the greatest night of his life last night. Not only did he win, he was going to win anyways, but he won by 22 points or something over a very good Democratic opponent in Charlie Crist. But Donald Trump took it on the chin last night. And
I think DeSantis runs now. There's no doubt to me the big winner on the Republican side is DeSantis.
Yes.
Right? There's no doubt. He rolled in convincing fashion. He punched his ticket for 2024. He will run now. He is the only hope they have to sort of move a little bit away from the grasp of Donald Trump and put the party in a different direction, albeit aligned mostly with Trump.
Yes.
But Trump hates him. Trump calls him Ron DeSanctimonious, already has a term for him. No, I'm serious. He's trying.
Good.
It's a good term.
Oh, no, he's been doing that.
He's been doing this. He's trying to label him. And
so
it's a good term.
I want to go out on a limb here. I think because Biden did well, I think in a way this allows Biden a path out. And
a path where?
No. I think because look, I don't know, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Here's what's
he can go out and say, I've done what I can for the country.
Can I tell you what was in my head this morning? And there's no way of predicting. What was in my head this morning was that 2024 could be Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. Oh, very possibly. Yeah.
I really think that. I mean, I was
You
thinking
think it's
it
a
today.
graceful exit for Biden, or you could say the
I
party's in
think
good
he-
hands. I've
As
done what I
opposed to I'm
can.
losing because I lost. I'm losing 'cause
Exactly.
I lost.
Exactly.
I see the point. I
Yes.
see the point. Whether Biden sees the point is a different.
I don't know. I mean, listen, the White House today, the way they put it was this was vindication for them.
Yeah.
That they were criticized for not talking about the economy. They were talking about abortion. They were talking about democracy. And it resonated. And that surprised a lot of people. So Biden really won last night. He really did win. I mean, even if the Republicans are probably going to take the House. Who knows what's going to happen with the Senate? But it wasn't a shellacking. It wasn't what happens to a lot of these presidents, most all presidents, in midterms.
They can still
that's
lose
that's a victory.
It's a victory, but they could still lose both houses, as you say. I think Biden's presidency and his ability to govern, his administration is going to sort of grind to a halt, regardless of because I think the House is gone. I think the Senate
Would
might.
you
and
bet?
his
Would you bet
accomplishments
against
and
me on Biden versus Gavin Newsom versus DeSantis?
I don't think the country and even the Democratic Party is going to get behind Gavin Newsom.
I do.
He's handsome. He's handsome, but
I'm
I don't
not
think
ruling
it'll
it out,
happen.
Harvey. I don't think it's a bad prediction.
Give me another person.
Well, I mean, I could name the typical list of folks. Amy Klobuchar would be, a choice. Obviously, Kamala Harris. It's interesting that the two leading sort of in the prognostication game of who's going to be the Democratic nominee are both Californians and have a tight relationship or have had Gavin Newsom, and at least publicly, I'm not sure privately, Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris.
I would bet against it. I think Gavin
Kamala,
Newsom
yes.
feels out of touch. California's in the bag. It's a very blue state. You don't have to run a candidate who is the governor of your bluest state on the map.
Here's who I like a lot is the guy who just won the Pennsylvania governorship last night, Josh Shapiro. Is not Fetterman. Fetterman's a disaster.
No. Westmore.
Westmore, I don't know. He's got a low profile, and he's from a bluest of blue
No
states.
name recognition. 2024 is around the corner.
Yeah,
Harvey.
did you ever hear of Barack Obama?
Sure did, and he gave a hell of a speech at the Democratic National
This
Convention.
guy is a
And
star.
made a name for
this
himself.
guy
There are
is
two
a
examples.
star.
It's not
This
just Barack
guy
Obama. It's
is
not
a
just Barack
star.
Obama, who 3 years before the 2008 election, nobody had ever heard of. Bill Clinton, nobody had ever heard of him.
True.
The only
Jimmy
thing Jimmy Carter. Democrats have a history of doing this. Somebody comes out of the woodwork, and that's why I think you have a couple. You have.
By the way, you mentioned people who won.
Yeah. Gretchen Whitmer is another one.
Yeah.
Governor of Michigan. The Democrats are not doing well in the Deep South. They except Georgia. They underperformed in North Carolina, underperformed in Florida badly. But where they're doing well is in the upper Midwest, and that is still the key to election victory for the presidency for the Democrats. And you have you have a bunch of really viable candidates.
Well, except you're
up there.
the mistake I think you're making is that in primaries, people don't think that way.
Well,
they
fair
think
enough.
about candidates they want. Vice presidents, they think about that.
Fair enough.
And honestly, I have no idea whether Gretchen Whitmer would run or not, but she could certainly get on the ticket as vice president.
Yes.
For that very reason.
Yes.
But running, I don't know.
You better bring someone good to beat Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is charismatic. He's very popular. He's in Florida, which is a hugely important state.
I think the fact that he won
is
so
dangerous.
decisively
He's
is
tough.
a big deal.
He's tough.
Is a big
He's
deal.
also
He's palatable. He's not Donald Trump.
Well,
he's palatable to a lot of
if
people.
you're defining palatable as not Donald Trump, then he's palatable.
Yeah.
If you define palatable, which might be, by the way, if you define palatable as where he is with the American people on issues, he's not there.
He's extremely far right, but he's not grotesque. And that is a difference. I'm
I
telling
agree. No.
in my mind,
Derek,
the Republican Party.
I agree with you. He is the odds-on favorite, not just for the nomination, I think, today, but also for the presidency.
So do you think he could get the nomination from Donald Trump?
I do today. I do. I think the Republican Party has shown its cards. Now, Trump is not going to go out without a fight. He's going to come out at Ron DeSanctimonious.
And he'll
which
bloody up the party.
Guaranteed he can't not spell, by the way. That's just
Right.
Yeah. And he's going to bloody this party desperately.
And he'll threaten to form his own party and all that kind of stuff, I think.
I think the chances, by the way, of Donald Trump being indicted increased today as well.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Because if he's not the face of the party as much as
Yes.
Biden going after the face of the party, his number one challenger, I think the chances of him being indicted.
The parties will get the Republican Party is getting its knives
If I could get in
to
it, if I
stab
could
this-
get in anybody's head today, it would be Merrick Garland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think you need the Republicans to turn against him. You need him to be
And they
Julius
will.
Caesar getting
You
stabbed
will.
by his own. And I
You
think
think-
that's what's happening.
You think Mitch McConnell wants anything to do with it? He hated Donald Trump. He's hated Donald Trump for 6 years.
That's right.
The
But
desire
the
to
party
get
was
rid of-
captured.
Yes.
It wasn't willingly in Donald
Yes.
Trump's embrace. It was
Yes.
captured,
Yes.
and now they can sharpen their knives and say, this is our opportunity to
Yes.
kill this tyrant.
Yes.
So, final thing. If there's a runoff in Georgia, which it looks like there's going to be, I think for the Democrats, the way they're going to campaign has to do all about the Supreme Court. That what they're going to say is that there are 6 members of that court right now that are locked in, that are against everything you believe in. And if you don't turn the Senate and make it, if you don't maintain a 50-50 margin so that the vice president's a tiebreaker, then any nomination the president makes is going to be blocked. And then if a Republican gets in, it could be 7, it could be 8, and people are going to get scared. And I think that the Supreme Court, it could be determinative in a runoff.
Are you saying they should run on
the Supreme Court?
On signaling that they'll pack the court, or just that
No,
they'll hold the line?
They'll hold the line.
But holding the line means nothing.
No, it's not holding the
majority.
line. Somebody could die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. Somebody could die.
Yeah.
And then we
You
have a
want to
Scalia
get
issue.
and you say, look, there are some old members of the court. I mean, Clarence Thomas is older, and you could say if something happened where he wasn't on the court and there was a nomination, you could get this a much more even Steven kind of thing on the court. And if you don't vote for Warnock, then you're going to probably block any nomination Biden would make.
They should do it that
And
way.
I think people are going to be scared of that.
Yeah.
And
I think there's something to that. I also think, I mean,
If they gesture towards court packing, though,
Warnock,
it's a
yeah, that's
death
not.
knell.
No, I'm not talking about
I agree
court
with you.
packing.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. This is the year for TV reporters to date billionaires. I'm telling you.
Getting it.
This
Yeah.
is so Melinda Gates.
It's a reference to Gloria Santana.
I'm going to get into.
Oh,
Lauren.
okay, sorry.
I'm going to get into
Lauren
it.
Sanchez.
So
I think
Lauren.
Gloria
So Melinda Gates, obviously divorced Bill. She is. I think she's the richest woman in the world.
Or Mackenzie. Bezos.
Well, it's a horse race.
She's got enough to make a man
Yeah.
comfortable.
There's some Waltons in there, but yeah, she's in the top 10.
So she is dating, pretty seriously it seems, a guy named Jon Du Pre. Jon Du Pre was a TV reporter.
Fox News correspondent.
Fox News, but he was Fox News correspondent early on in Fox. He was, I believe he was in Los Angeles, although I got kind of mixed signals looking at this, but I know he was in Utah as a TV reporter and other places. So
Handsome, very telegenic.
very
right?
telegenic. By the way, I don't think he is conservative, Fox News conservative. He's a communication strategist now. When I looked at his Twitter account,
Right.
he doesn't look,
Yes.
he's not aligned with Fox
Sure.
News. But, well, the other person who was, and it's so funny because initially we had heard he was with KTTV. It's unclear that he was, that's the Fox affiliate in Los Angeles.
it is.
You know who else was on the Fox affiliate in Los Angeles?
Lauren Sanchez.
Lauren Sanchez was on the Fox
Oh,
affiliate
so
in Los
she and Jon Du Pre, and she's about the same age, a couple years younger, right?
Right.
She probably knows Jon Du Pre,
Yeah.
right?
But I don't know. I couldn't figure out whether he was ever.
if there's overlap.
No, it was weird. I've looked at his LinkedIn account, and
Oh my God, what if they dated?
I know.
What if they dated once upon a time, Jon Du Pre and Lauren Sanchez?
And they
my
hatched a
God.
plan to each go out and find billionaires.
At the time, the two
What a
richest men in the
movie.
world.
What
and they're
a
like,
movie.
people in the world. Like,
oh my God, I love that
Incredible movie.
An entertainment reporter and
if we find out they dated, it'll be the best thing in the whole wide world.
Cut this out. We're going to write the script. Don't let anyone know.
anyway.
What a long play.
They've been dating for a couple of months, so it seems actually like it's getting kind of serious. They've been on vacation.
It is interesting, just the Fox News thing. I know we don't know. He wasn't aligned with the Fox News and their politics, but
I mean, it's really interesting. On his LinkedIn account, it says Fox News, and then they give examples of what he did. The Alaska plane crash.
Yeah, right,
he didn't
right.
get near politics
Right,
in that.
But Melinda Gates, famously one of the most liberal people in
Right.
the whole wide world, and it's interesting. It would be fascinating if he is conservative and she's with a conservative.
I
guy.
don't think.
We don't know his politics, though, right?
Well,
we just don't know.
I looked at his Twitter account. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I don't think he is. So Kyrie Irving met with Adam Silver.
Yes.
And supposedly they had some of the reports say, a productive visit. What does that mean?
Well, it means that Kyrie apparently said all the right things.
Like what?
I don't know. Going
If
into
Kyrie Irving
yeah.
would not acknowledge that the Holocaust
it's hard
existed,
to come back from that.
what did he say to Adam Silver?
It's hard to come back. So Adam Silver had laid out 5 or 6 criteria for or benchmarks that Kyrie Irving had to hit in order to be allowed back in the league. And they were things that were going to be hard for Kyrie Irving to swallow, from full acknowledgement of what he said was wrong, full-throated apology, an acknowledgement of the inaccuracies that are put in.
A $500,000 donation.
A $500,000, that's
Which,
the easy part.
Which, by the way, the
didn't
ADL wouldn't take.
I'm sure there are plenty of charities that would be happy to take his money. I thought that was weird by the ADL. I thought it was weird not to take his charity, given that he just pocket it. I don't know.
I didn't find that weird at all.
I guess
they
not.
didn't want it.
I didn't find it weird at all.
I guess not. So he had to meet all these criteria, and given where he came from, where Kyrie Irving came from, and the things he had said, to the point you were making, how do you walk those back effectively? How do you come out and say that in sum or substance, I dispute whether the Holocaust happened, and then apologize and say, I don't dispute whether the Holocaust happened, which seems to be where he needs to
I think Adam Silver, as commissioner of the league, though, can't be seen as sort of
too
malevolent and too harsh. He has to handle this with grace and civility.
Adam Silver came out guns a-blazing.
He did.
After Kyrie Irving after the first failed apology.
He had to show he was angry. But he
has
to productively manage the situation, doesn't he?
You're not taking away the genuineness of Adam Silver's anger, are you?
No, his anger was real because he said your apology doesn't cut it, and he was very, very sort of
We're
unambiguous.
basing this on reports. I'm not convinced these reports are accurate, that Adam Silver said, yeah, this was pretty good. I just don't hear.
Yeah, what does productive mean?
I don't hear Kyrie Irving saying, yeah, I should have answered the reporter's question. The Holocaust did exist. Here are the things that I disagree with in that documentary. I just don't think he said that.
Yeah, look, here's what we know about Kyrie. Last season, he dug in his heels on the vaccine and sat out most of the season. So he's not a guy who
$17 million
wins a ton of money. He's not motivated solely by money. He does like to sort of show a certain stubbornness and a self-righteousness about the things he believes in. So it's not clear he fell on his sword. But if he does, I think Adam Silver has to sort of open himself up to reintroducing Kyrie into the league, I think.
Here's why I have an issue with this. If he really did a mea culpa with Adam Silver, then that should be mirrored in the next news conference that Kyrie Irving has. And if reporters start asking him those questions, and if he really did answer it a certain way with Adam Silver, he has to do the same at the news conference. I don't see it.
Yeah.
What if he does? What if he does? What if he's
be
absolutely unambiguous? The Holocaust happened, and it was a tragedy. It was an actual part of history.
And look, that's great. But I'd like to ask. Why wouldn't you say that before?
Yeah, he will have to reconcile that with the things.
Why
he said in the
wouldn't
past.
you say that?
Can he
before?
claim ignorance? Can he claim I wasn't raised? I don't know these things.
Here's the thing: Kyrie's a dipshit, but he's not stupid.
Yeah.
He's actually a very, very smart guy who can, I think, is bright enough to to reconcile these thoughts and say, "Here's what I was speaking to,"
or Jason, he believes it.
Well, in which case, good for him. I don't begrudge Kyrie Irving whatever he wants to believe. I really don't.
Well, he'll
but
never get into the league
again. He can't play in the NBA anymore, though. The NBA, look. What Donald Sterling said.
You got to at a point acknowledge that he sent that tweet out. He would never. He never really took it back. And it's an extremely anti-Semitic film.
Yeah.
So.
But don't you think there's a question, is he going to go what I call full Kanye, where he goes on multiple programs and defends the point of view? Or is Kyrie at a point where he can still pivot to sort of saying this was all wrong and I was laboring under a misimpression?
He has so much to lose. Kanye lost a lot. I don't think he knew how much he was going to lose going in. Kyrie will never step foot in an NBA court again if he goes full throttle.
That's right.
And
he has enough money for many generations to live and be fine.
I guess so, unless he doesn't.
He lost his Nike deal already.
He lost all of his deals. He has no sponsorships anymore.
Right, but he made that clear that there are certain things he believes in that are bigger than money.
In which case, despite the abhorrence of his views, good for Kyrie. He believes in what he believes.
So it sounds like you're betting that
I'm not saying good for
I mean it in that. I mean it in that.
I know what you're saying.
If you believe what you believe, don't kowtow to.
You respect his convictions on this?
I do. I respect his convictions on it.
Now these are nasty, noxious things.
I'm sorry.
I don't respect it, but
the people who are saying I stand with Kyrie on this, you know what happens. I mean, again, folks, if you're listening to this, watch Ken Burns' The U.S. and the Holocaust. Watch this documentary on PBS. Watch this documentary. There are things you don't know about what happened in America and how anti-Semitism works and how it becomes a precursor to a lot of really bad things beyond just Jews, a lot of really bad things. And you watch this documentary, it's going to open your eyes. I'm telling you, I thought I knew a fair amount. I learned so much from this documentary that was just shocking. Yeah. And it's a piece of art, and you should watch it.
One piece of trivia before we go. The Semitic people, Jews, and who else are Semitic? Persians are Semitic people.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Wow, that was a kind of random way of ending it.
Yes. Well, it's not that random. It's Semitic, you know?
Potato.
Potato.
See you tomorrow.